From WYPR in Baltimore, this is The Signal. I'm Lisa Morgan. Hollaback is an organization that is working to end street harassment. It uses a new approach, mobile technology, to the age-old problem of catcalls and unwanted attention in public places. The Hollaback app connects users to a website where they can post their stories, location, and even photographs, turning what is often an isolating and sometimes scary experience into a chance to connect with others in a supportive community. It's a way to respond to Hollaback, if you will, and, with any luck, to help put an end to the pervasive practice. Shauna Potter is the director of the new Baltimore chapter of the international organization, and she joined me in the studio to talk about the movement and its mission. Shauna Potter, welcome to The Signal.
Thank you.
So tell me about Hollaback. Tell me, where did it start and what is it?
Well, it started as a blog between friends in 2005 who were sitting around in their apartment talking about how much they were fed up with street harassment. They wanted a better way to respond to it. If they ignored it, kept silent, they felt kind of powerless about the situation. If they yelled at the harasser, yelled back at them, they tended to notice that the situation might escalate. So they wanted something else to do. The blog and the camera phone were relatively new around the time, and they decided to put both together to create a Hollaback as a response.
And so how does it work?
Well, now we have an iPhone app and a Droid app, and we have a website. If you use the apps, then in real time, you can actually send in your story of harassment, send the location, possibly take a photo of the harasser, and we geotrack it on a map. So what that does is it serves to show where the problems are. Maybe there's a hot spot in the city, and how common it is, how pervasive it is. And you can also do the same thing later on a computer on our website.
So this is sort of like, maybe we should start by defining what you consider street harassment.
Sure. Yeah, it's kind of confusing. It's not really a subject that people talk about a lot in the public sphere. But to us, street harassment is sexual harassment that occurs in a public space. So it actually can be on the street or waiting for a bus or in a shopping mall, anywhere that's public.
And that can range from, the classic, a guy whistling at someone walking by, to stuff that gets a little bit more aggressive, very aggressive harassment.
Yeah, it runs the gamut. Whistling, honking, catcalling, as we call it, kissing noises, to groping and grabbing someone's arm, standing in their way, preventing them from walking where they're, trying to go.
Basically, any kind of attention from someone, from a stranger that you're not interested in.
That's unwarranted, And it's a very different thing than, even my father, when I was telling him about starting Hollaback Bmore, he asked, so every guy that hits on a girl now is a harasser, And it was very easy for me to explain, there's a little bit of a difference between a guy in a bar saying, hey, can I buy you a drink? And a woman says yes or no, and then it ends, there. And someone driving by, yelling some derogatory term about my body parts, and then continuing to speed off, and I'm left there alone on a crowded street wondering what to do next.
Right.
That person obviously does not want to date me or get to know me.
No, and it seems, there's almost something so ingrained about it. We all have the classic stereotype of, it's even been featured in commercials and things where a pretty person walks by and a bunch of construction workers, they start howling and saying stuff. But it's almost like you say that's okay. But if you're in that position, it's not okay.
It does not feel okay. Every woman I've ever met and spoken to about this subject does not like it.
Yeah.
And that should be enough to say, well, maybe something should change. But not only do we not like it, it's also a form of gender-based violence. It's only happening because we happen to be born women. So that makes it not okay. Not acceptable.
Right. And it's hard to find ways to combat it because, as you said, if you say something back, things often get out of hand very quickly. And what can you say back to somebody, really? But this way, you can actually, and posting a photograph of somebody. I went to the website. I guess it started in New York. That's where it began. I saw a bunch of pictures there, and I thought, how humiliating, and a person is going to do things anonymously they would be mortified to know that they were identified as somebody who behaved in that manner and exposed for what they were.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a shaming aspect there. Sometimes when you pull out a camera and someone's actually on duty, they're in a uniform working for a company, which we, of course, blur out whenever we post a photo like that. They realize, oh, my boss could see this, or, oh, my wife could see this, or my community leaders could see this. And, when there's a consequence to your action, that makes everybody stop and think about what they're doing. And until now, there's been no consequences. It's very hard to sue the streets. Or get police involved. Sometimes, everyone has a very busy life. They can't wait around for the cops to show up. If the harasser's even polite enough to stick around and talk to the cops with you, which I don't really see happening.
But sometimes if even, like you said, someone driving by saying something, it doesn't make you feel good, but maybe by being able to share your story with someone else, just to tell your story is kind of an empowering thing
Absolutely,
to do.
Yeah. It's a very isolating experience. You're surrounded by people, but no one sticks up for you. No one helps. And that's been my personal experience. And yes, to be able to share it with people, find solidarity, that's empowering. Now, just knowing that I have this resource to use myself, when I walk down the street, I feel better. I feel more confident. And when I get catcalled, which I have very recently, putting up flyers for our launch event, and I was kind of like, really? Even then, I was ready. It wasn't such a startling experience that it has been in the past, because I knew I had something I could do about it.
Have you had a chance to talk to many men about this concept and this idea? What do men think about this? Have you talked to many people about it?
Well, I've noticed that the type of men that I am friends with, when you begin to explain, what Hollaback does, it's very easy for them to grasp the concept. And they would never, they don't understand the type of person that would just yell at someone on the street, period, regardless of circumstances. But I've been very lucky that those are the only men I've really been talking to so far. I'm pretty sure that will change as the site gets bigger. There will be a little bit more backlash, perhaps. But.
Yeah. Well, people think, oh, that's crazy. What are you doing? It's harmless. That, this mentality that it's just a harmless kind of interaction between people.
Yeah.
But
that's what they thought about sexual harassment in the workplace in the 80s. That was the argument, that it was okay. It was innocent fun. And obviously it wasn't, because it made people feel bad and it created a hostile work environment.
It would be nice to think that this sort of thing will lead to people being more comfortable and people not being harassed. But what do you think? Is that possible?
I think it's possible. I think our big goal would be to affect change in the legislative process, get a new law on the books, something that we can point out to people that's concrete, that says, this isn't okay. You might want to do it. You might be thinking it, but it's not okay. And now I actually have a form of, I can do something about it. I have an avenue to take when I don't want to take it anymore.
Right. Well, and it really comes down to respect, and respect for your fellow human beings. It's just a respectful way to behave around people. There's
a very big theme with civility right now, isn't there?
Yes.
In politics. And I think that definitely applies here. The civility. There's no reason to yell at anyone on the street if you don't know them. Doesn't matter what you're saying. But when you are talking about their body parts, or saying what you'd like to do to them, or trying to get their phone number, when, they're just trying to go about their business, it's an invasion of privacy. It's really upsetting. And I think if people knew how upsetting it was, that, they might take a step back and think about what they were doing. But because it's been so accepted, oh, it's just a part of being a woman, no one's had to do that. So we're looking to change that.
Shauna Parter is the director of Hollaback Baltimore. She's hosting a website launch party this Saturday night at the Metro Gallery, featuring music by local bands Me and This Army, Thrushes, and War on Women, a self-defense demo by Krav Maga Maryland, plus a raffle with prizes from Red Emma's, Sugar, Big Crunch Amp and Guitar Repair, and many others. You can find a link to the Hollaback website and more information at wypr.org/The Signal. For The Signal, I'm Lisa Morgan.
You're listening to The Signal, an original production of Your Public Radio in Baltimore. Coming up, loving what you do and making a living at it. Another story in our radio series, Labors of Love. That's coming our way right after the break.